Hi, I'm Brent Johnson, and today we are still in Connecticut. We've come to Norwich, and with me is Pastor Lloyd Harter, pastor of two churches. Tell me where.
Yep, Pinehurst Lutheran Church and Ascension Lutheran Church in Eau Claire. Two technically different congregations, but function together as one ministry.
Eau Claire, Wisconsin, a long way from Connecticut.
Yes.
But what's brought us here today is Opus 101 of the Andover Organ Company from 1991. It tells me all nicely engraved there on the music desk. Because this instrument in the church we're in is no longer useful. The church no longer needs it. So tell me why we're here.
Yeah, so we actually visited this organ once already in November of last year, and that was to see it firsthand and give a hopefully qualified recommendation to one of my congregations that wants to make Opus 101, wants to make Pinehurst Lutheran Church its new home. So we're in the process of raising funds to do that right now. Matthew of Andover Organ Company was the one who suggested that we do this, and being an avid listener and watcher of the Organ Media Foundation, was very excited at the prospect of being able to couple together to highlight our project, and as it is no longer being used, hopefully find its way to Pinehurst.
Okay, well, I hope so. It's good to get to hear it now while it's all been tuned up and in great shape. So we're looking at two manual and pedal mechanical action organ, all in this beautiful case designed for the church. I assume you've got a great spot picked out where it's going to look just as beautiful.
Right in the front.
Right in the front. That'll be a great centerpiece.
Right in the front.
So I want to hear some of it now. So let's start with our upper division. I guess we're calling it a grate. We don't have great division names here, do we?
Yeah.
So, it does say Swell and grate down there. Okay, there we go. So let's start with the grate then. Let's just bring me through the grate stops.
So both divisions are just fascinating, and I would say the name of the game on this instrument is versatility, because it's a good full stop list, but because it's not 40 ranks of pipes, you need to have what is there very versatile. And so we're going to see that throughout the instrument and how Bob Reich voiced it. So we can start with the principal on the grate. Yeah. So the loudest of the three principals on the grate, excluding the mixture.
That's lovely.
Yeah. Has maybe just a slight shift to it.
A little bit of shift,
not much.
but it's still a nice warm round sound.
It is. And actually, as you ascend the principals on the grate, so for example, this is the 8-foot. Take those same pitches at the 4-foot level. A little softer and a little warmer as well too. Really, really nice. So this is the 4-foot principal. The 8-foot.
A little brighter, but not overwhelmingly screechy or anything you expect. It's a very nice, round, warm sound. I like it a lot.
It is. And Ryan of Andover Organ Company is going to talk about how this was voiced a lot more. But I love that the principals get a little softer as you go up, and so by the time you get to the mixture, it's just a nice little cap.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's add the 2-foot to that.
Yep. So. Occasionally I want this pedal. Okay, and then here's the mixture on the top of it.
That's a lovely sound.
It is, and the 2-foot really complements the mixture really well. The mixture's a little heavier on the quint ranks, but when you put the 2-foot with it, it really balances it out, and
it's a nice bright sound, but it's not overwhelming, and it's kind of going over our heads a little bit, so maybe it's a little bigger out there, but
it's a 91, built-in 91, so as Ryan will talk about, at the transition into out of the organ reform movement.
Okay. Yeah. And then we have one reed in the grate.
Yes, that is, you'll hear it.
adds a lot of fire to that ensemble.
Yeah.
Let me hear the trumpet by itself.
Yeah. Let's see here. We'll do just a little bit of.
Nice big solo sound, and it works with the rest of the ensemble too.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't
If
fight
I'd
with it.
beef that up a little bit, maybe. Yeah, holds its
Okay.
own against the swell a little bit better for a nice solo step.
And then there's one flute in the grate.
Yes, yeah, chimney flute, and this is, I mean, what you'd expect from a flute. Not a lot of overtones to it. Yeah.
Good warm sound there for accompanying or even against your swell solo stops or something like that. It's good to have something
Exactly.
soft there. So.
Yep, you'll hear
Nice.
that very often in the two pieces on Beautiful Savior that I did.
Well, that's the great then. Let's come over to the Swell.
Cool.
Tell me what we have over here.
Yeah, I love the way the Swell is voiced. You're going to really hear in the Spire flute, especially some transitions and a little bit of transitions in the Gemshorn and the Cremona and where the overtones appear and whether they're more in the treble or the bass. So it's a really fascinating and you can tell a very intentionally voiced Swell division. Okay. So the Spire flute, the bottom octave is capped, and so you hear that a bit. Now you hear a little bit of the transition. I love when you hear the top, like it speaks so. It's not letting up at all as it gets into the upper range. Yeah, and it's really interesting to contrast it to, like if you take the last octave of the Spire flute, or the second to last octave, fit that against the 4-foot octave on the great. By the time you get up here, you're leaning towards a principal.
Yeah, almost. It gives you some principal color there in that division. Okay.
Which is, like I said, intentionally voiced because we have just one 8-foot in the Swell, so that really helps hold the top end, and we're going to see that especially from the Gemshorn as well. It's going to hold down the fort on the top end very well.
Okay, well let's keep going up then. We have another flute then at 4-foot.
I do want to play this by itself a little bit because it is this is a nice chippery flute.
Yeah, very colorful.
And then with the 8-foot flute. So it really balances the overtones that are present in the Spire flute.
I feel like it gives it a lot more body too, and just helps bring out the ensemble.
Yeah,
Very good. Those work together well.
So yeah, I like that chimney flute a lot. So when you add the Gemshorn on top, you really have a good. And especially maybe the microphones will pick this up better out in the room than we'll hear in our faces here. But if you just pit the Gemshorn against the 2-foot on the grate, they're pretty.
Similar, yeah.
It's the grate's got just a little bit on it, but that Gemshorn is really.
It does, but it didn't make things as bright as I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
With the 8 and 4, it blends together really well, and it's not as pointed as I was expecting.
Exactly, and I think that's the chimney flute in the middle, not distracting from the Gemshorn and letting it cap the top of it.
Yeah, but you're right; it does have a lot of power in that upper end.
Yeah, it really speaks up there.
We have both a Nazard and Tierce.
Yep. So these are very fluty. For the Nazard. And then the Tierce, pretty similar. Maybe a little more overtones.
Yeah. It's a little thinner.
Yeah. So then if we put that together and solo things a little bit here, we have... if I add that on top.
It's interesting. The 2-foot made it almost sound clangier, like it was bringing out more of the Tierce because you added the 2-foot underneath it. It supports it really well.
And it sounded more like a sesquialtera.
Interesting. So you've got 2 different color options there for the stop there. Okay, and then we have a reed.
Yeah, the Cremona. Yeah. So we'll start with just this, and this is where I'm talking about here in the overtones. So there were more overtones in the Spire flute as you got toward the top. Gets a little more principal-like in character the farther up you go. Whereas with the Cremona, you get more fundamental the higher you go, and there's more overtones in the bass. So Very buzzy down there. Hearing more of that clarinetish character as you go higher.
It allows you to couple that down and have some buzzy pedal
Yeah.
low things, but at the same time have a nice, pretty cello voice up top.
And then you do have the great trumpet in the pedal as
Okay, a
well.
couple
So
times.
yeah, using one of those two,
Okay.
certainly that'll match the fagot a little bit more. Yeah, so I always like hearing these small solo stops. Maybe we'll add a little bit more as we go on there, but. Did I have the tremolo on this whole time?
Yeah, it would just. So yeah, that gives you a lot of space to decorate with the other stops and fill in some of the harmonics that it doesn't have. So it doesn't compete with it.
Well, and
gives it some
as you know, for congregational singing.
And that's just a swell. You could probably accompany a good number of people in here with that.
Yep, absolutely.
We have a few pedal stops then.
Yes. So this is more very intentional voicing. So on the pedal, we have a sous-bass at the 16-foot level, flute bass at the 8-foot level, choral bass at the 4-foot level, and it's all one rank of pipes. But you're going to hear as we go higher how the voicing becomes less fluty and more principal in character as well, kind of mirroring the voice of that spire flute a bit maybe, but you know, bigger scale. So good fundamental, still pretty fluty. Hearing more overtones all the time, right? Now we'll transition to the 8-foot. Now by the time we get to the 4-foot, we're at pretty much a principal. So all together.
I see what you mean. It gives it a lot of clarity as you go up and keeps the top end
very
nice
flexible rank of pipes.
Okay. And then we have a 16-foot now. Does that extend from the...
This is its own rank.
It is
the fagot is its own rank. 8-foot is from the trumpet on the great. 8-foot trumpet on the great. Yeah.
Okay, it's powerful read down there.
Yep. Yeah.
So a very versatile little instrument here.
Yeah.
All very thoughtfully voiced and arranged.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So for like a church that's not a huge church, but not small either, just like a nice mid-sized congregation and a slightly smaller building, like we're really excited at the prospect of not only using this for congregational singing, but we have a school 2 blocks up the road, and so I spend, as a general music teacher, I spend 1 day a year just teaching the kids about the pipe organ.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep, and so use all sorts of videos to show them that and how it's made, and they're always just locked in.
And this is a fantastic opportunity because you can see the pipes right here.
Yes.
You can even see the trackers. The tracker run is in front of the pipe. So
I think it's just such a wonderful teaching opportunity. You know, being a music teacher now, a licensed music teacher in my rural Wisconsin school district, really excited to bring the kids down from our local elementary school, let the music teacher have a day off, and just show them the workings, things moving and making sound happen. Your finger actually letting air into the pipe, like it's really engaging for kids. So really excited at the prospect of using it for that, using it for teaching my own organ students, and recitals and concerts for the community and all that good stuff.
So I'm going to ask you to play it now for us, as I always do. Tell me about what you're going to play.
Sure. So I'm going to play 2 variations on Beautiful Savior, and I wrote these pieces specifically for this project. So anyone that donates toward the organ fund, the link will be in the description. Okay, cool. Sounds good. So in any case, if you donate, my email address is on there. I'll be happy to send you a PDF of the music, or if you want a snail mail actual hard copy, I'll be happy to do that too as a complimentary gift to anyone that helps make this organ possible for us.
One of the benefits for working for a company that takes care of many organs is that you get to see a wide swath of American organ building history from the early days of the 19th century through modern times. And at Andover, in addition to taking care of those older historic instruments, we also get to see our company's own history, because the company was started in 1948 and we have examples of organs from the very early days. Andover Organ Company was founded in 1948, and it becomes an early pioneer of the organ reform movement in the United States. 10 years later, in 1958, the company built one of the first new trackers in the post-war modern era. And the company sort of rode that reform wave to great success in the following decades, somewhat moderating over time. By the 1990s, the company was entering a period of more rapid change. This was driven mostly by some leadership changes. Bob Reich, who had been around since 1948, was sort of slowly transitioning out of the presidency, although he would remain very influential in tonal design and voicing. And then Don Olson coming up as a shop foreman and now becoming president. By the middle of the decade, you also had a lot of employees that I knew I came in 2009, and a lot of those employees started to filter in the 90s. And so what you have is you have some new ideas and fresh blood, and it combines with past tradition and experience. And that's sort of at the crossroads of where Andover's Opus 101 is from 1991. And you must place every organ in context, because you can say that an organ builder intentionally does everything because they want to. But the reality is you often have to build organs with lots of compromises. And in this case, it's a small organ in a confined space, mechanical action, and so that sort of forces your hand in what choices you make. And the idea is to make the best choices you can with your ideals while also producing an organ that is useful and that other people want to listen to. And so what we have here is sort of an organ that harkens back to some reform ideas where the great is the main division and the swell is subservient. In a lot of cases, you had the great above the swell. So that's sort of an older idea. And because the swell is subservient, it forces your hand in what you can put in the swell. So things are necessarily smaller scaled, and you have less room, so you have to be more judicious in your choices. But on the other hand, our long experience with maintaining and restoring and rebuilding 19th century American organs, and that history sort of runs concurrently with the new organs in the reform style. Those ideas sort of started to seep into the new building, especially in the 1990s. So we were very fond of at the period up to today with the work of the Hook brothers and the following iterations of that company, which is based on a certain scaling idea of the scaling gets smaller as you go up towards the mixture in certain predictable ways, and you sort of bring back the intensity of the chorus so that it has a lot of bottom weight to it with a crowning mixture. And so that's sort of what we tried to do here in a modern way. And then the swell in reform style, especially for Bob Reich, would have been more like a cornet décomposé as a division. And that's sort of what you have here, but with the skillful scaling and the skillful voicing, it can do a lot more than that.
Access to the grate is provided by dropping this panel here. You can get a look at the action as it goes up to the chests. A purpose-built ladder installed so you can get up in there. It's very tight, so we'll just stick a camera up here so you can get a look around. You have the pedals along the back, and then the grate here in the front with the reeds right in the middle. Going down underneath, we can peek down into the swell pipes, see the roller board for the grate, and some of the pedal action coming up on the sides. Now, to get into the swell, we actually go outside in the hallway behind the church, and we find an open door that goes right into the case. Still very compact and tight, but we can see the reed there against the back, and the pedal trackers coming up on the side. Just looking underneath at the swell trackers, regulator, and the console. The swell reed is interesting in that it does change quite a bit between the bass end and the treble. The resonator shape changes entirely. All right, we're going to go back out to the church, and we're going to open a panel on the side here that gives us a little bit of a look at what's behind the console. We see the stop action, or tremolo, and some of the swell pipes, but there's not a lot you can access from here.
One thing that we're experiencing today, which I'm seeing more and more, is an acceleration of organs which are losing their home. which is the case here. In the old days, we could just store everything, but storage costs are high, and we're able to accept less and less instruments, and so we're kind of really having to boil it down to the most important or the most historical examples to save and try to move. And so we're extremely happy that this organ is still in its original home and has already potentially found a new home, because that is a rarity. It's also very rare that you get a fairly modern organ which isn't in need of a complete restoration, just some cleaning up and polishing up, and now it can be moved. And so that provides an opportunity for a smaller church with limited means to get an organ that they might not otherwise get, especially since the costs of building new organs nowadays are very, very high. So this is a unique opportunity, and we're extremely excited that we're able to potentially rehome this organ.
Lloyd, congratulations on this, finding this instrument and saving it for, to continue to play and continue to be heard. I hope everything goes very well with your fundraising. I know you're off to a good start. So
Jonathan Ross is responsible for me being here of Andover Organ Company, because he actually came to our church to look at our space and see if a different organ we had in mind would work. But he said, hey, we also have this one in Norwich, Connecticut that isn't being used, and we'd love to have a good home. And so, when we came and visited in November, I was just smiling the whole time.
Well, I'm glad that's all worked out. So there is information if you'd like to help them move this organ to Wisconsin. There's a link down in the description to your fundraising. Like you said, you can get a copy of the music for yourself, that beautiful piece he played. We'll look forward to maybe visiting this and giving it a look in its new home sometime in the not too distant future. So if you'd like to see that, then you got to subscribe to the channel, and you can do that down below, and you click the bell to get notifications to know when that video comes out. But if you like this so far and like seeing this first step in this project, then click the like down below. And while you're waiting for the next video to come out, you can always find streaming classical organ music on our 3 streaming stations: OrganLive.com, Positively Baroque, and The Organ Experience. So thanks to you, thanks to Luke Krenz, your organist, who tagged along with you and played for us today some. Thanks to the guys at Andover Organ Company, Matthew Bolocchio and Ryan Bartasevich, who made this possible today. So, and like I said, hopefully we'll see this organ in a new place soon.
I hope so too.
Until then, I'm Brent Johnson. Thanks for watching.